Thank you all for joining today. My name is Prashant, and we have Phaneendra today with us. Welcome to Salesforce and Vijayawada Marketing Cloud Groups. So, simple introduction about me. My name is Prashant Vardhan. I'm a technical lead at Apestoki, aspiring Salesforce architect. I'm also a group leader for Vijayawada Salesforce Marketers Group. I'm a 16 times Salesforce certified, one times Velocity certified, and Mulesoft certified as well. I'm also Trailblazer mentor, Trailhead mentor program as well. Okay. So today's session is mainly on Salesforce event monitoring. I'll hand over the session slides to Funny. Funny, you may take over.
Thank you, Prashant. I'll share my screen. Let me know once you're able to see my screens. You're
We
able
are.
to see my screen. Okay, all right. Thank you again. Thank you, Prashant, for giving us this opportunity to talk on this group. And good evening, everyone, and good morning. I'm not sure whether there are some folks who have joined from different regions. So today our topic is Salesforce event monitoring. I'm not sure how many of them know this product inside Salesforce. This is one of the fabulous product, particularly on the security perspective. So you could monitor your org. You can prevent and mitigate threats to your sensitive data, which is sitting in your Salesforce orgs. And coming to myself Phaneendra, and I'm a chief technology evangelist working with Apestoki. I'm sitting in Singapore. So I'm an enterprise architect with Salesforce and AWS, group leader managing Salesforce marketers of Singapore, as well as architect groups and Slack chapter. I'm a marketing champion and a MuleSoft industry champion. So I have a good amount of certifications which have gained knowledge from all your trailblazers. And I'm a MarTech architect as well. And I'm a mentor and Dreamforce speaker. And you can follow me in my blog, Arigachetta.com as well. So today's agenda, we'll quickly done the introduction. So we have done the introduction. So we'll talk about what is event monitoring. We'll talk about the key components of event monitoring, and we can talk about the real-time use cases and the platform demo. So the demo, which gives a lot of impression on how this tool works and what are all the benefits of leveraging this tool, especially on the security related element. And at the time, and at the end, so we can talk about some resources where you can go and then grab your attention and you could learn something new on this product. And finally, we have a quiz, and we have a quiz which this time, this is our end of the session, especially on this year. So Prashant would like to give a couple of goodies, Trailblazer goodies and certification vouchers. So don't go anywhere. So we have some good quiz at the end of the session, and Prashant will distribute the vouchers. And if any questions and answers, feel free to post your questions in chat. So I'll happy to answer whenever I get a time. Right. So the most important thing, so all throughout the session, you can mention us in your tweets with hashtag, and you can stand a chance to win a certification voucher with the cost of 200 or 400 USD. So I'll stay a bit here, and if anyone wants to grab the Twitter username, so you can just take it, and then you can just post us, and then just show our passion towards our community, and just show your passion towards learning something new on everyday term, and just get to know all our people saying that we are doing something good inside which you are the community group. All right, so without any delay, I'm going to jump into the session. So I know how we critically look into our critical world when we were in a different situation before 2019, and after 2019 we were in a different situations, right? So we were all sitting in a digitally imperative kind of locations where we were sitting in different virtual locations, and the moonlight is going going heavily on the current IT ecosystem, and everyone looking staying safe, want to secure their data and compliance their policies across the data, and they want to build some innovations as well. So you look at as a customer or as a company, so you can see what are all the elements which you can focus on, like so everyone as a security officer, I'm an enterprise company. As a security officer, I would like to seek an attention which I can take a look about my data loss preventions, what else I can implement through transaction security policies, user behavior visibility. Something, a person called Prashant is logging into multiple devices, and he's just looking at the same account for 120 times, and he's exporting some sensitive data from the organization, and he's changing all the field level security for some certain profiles, and he's logging with another user and then do some sort of manipulations across the data. It's plenty of things, that is what the user behavior visibility. and whether our companies completely follow some standards with PII regulations, industry regulations. Is there any threat management happening with your complete Salesforce orgs? Is there anyone abnormally behaving or doing something big that captures with threat detection? And the customer data privacy is always a key aspect to unlock your data, not to look your conspiracy of about what's happening within your org, right? So when we want to balance all these digital innovations and security, so it always be difficult, right? Because as a customer, as a security manager, I need to focus on my company, and as well as I need to focus on the customer as well. Because when I work with consulting based companies, so our customer is always a priority for us, where we need to follow some certain standard security processes and the best practices, which comes under lack of behavior visibility, insider threats, external threats, audit and compliance policies. So I need to manage both. I need to manage my customer as a consulting company. At the same time, I need to manage my company as well with what we do in terms of managing my data privacies, visibilities, threat detections, and everything. So I'm not sure how many of them know, but there's a product called Salesforce Shield. It came in a long way back when I was working on 2013, 2014, or 2015 kind of an year. So this Shield is evaluating on a day by day with different kind of a suites. This comes with a different kind of product, because Shield is one package. Within the package, there are different kind of products, sub-products available. One with, ideally I can say that we have platform encryption. Hope everyone aware of it. Every org nowadays where they're enabling platform encryption. The second thing is like a field level encryption, and you have an object level encryption, and these kind of a things which comes under your field level encryption. So there's one more called your audit trial, the field level audit, where you can increase your field storage capacity from certain months to certain months. And the third product would be ideally a Salesforce event monitoring. That's the topic that we would like to talk about today. So within this, you can talk about what is event monitoring. Event monitoring is a real-time events to be ingesting into Salesforce platform, which monitor your user activity, which is nothing but, as I said, Prashant is logging different kind of tools. He's using VPN to access into Salesforce. One time he's using some other VPN access another time. He has an active session inside Salesforce, but he's trying to log in another active session, which makes me very curious as a security manager. And at the same time, I want to block Prashant with a real time where Prashant is have an active session and he's trying to log in with another active session of the same org. So I leverage my enhanced security policies, which is nothing but a transaction security policies, which contains a declarative conditions I would like to showcase in the demo. I'm going to block Prashant that don't log in again if you have an active session. That you can do with enhanced security. Not only that, you can do plenty of things. If Prashant is logging from Korea VPN, or Prashant is logging from some North Korea IPs, or Prashant is logging from old devices, Prashant is logging from any TLS protocol, structure algorithm. Let's suppose some of the users, some of the are one of the user inside people. He's using Mozilla, the BlackBerry kind of devices, very old devices. So for a hackers, if you use old devices like BlackBerry or any iPhone old 4.0 5.0 kind of devices, as a hacker, I can hack Prashant phone easily, because it doesn't contain, and the security of the global security is not providing for those kind of phones, and even the companies also not concentrating on those kind of elements. So they keep upgrading their security policies, which you have to be upgrade the phone as well, and you have to incompatible with your releases as well, right? So there are plenty of things that I would like to talk in the demo, so you can see some good details as well. And along with you have to drive the user adoption as well. So you see the Prashant behavior across org, and you just need to give some training to Prashant on certain elements where how you have to adopt, how Prashant can adopt the Salesforce platform. At the same time, so we could optimize the performance as well. So we have some proactive identify bottlenecks where high demand pages to improve user experience, and then we would give some kind of a training to improvise the performance of our internal elements as well. So this all comes under event monitoring, where we can monitor our entire user behavior. We can prevent the user behavior behavior using some push notifications, or we can block the user, and we could mitigate the threats to your sensitive data as well. So that's called, we can calling as event monitoring. You look at event monitoring key components. So as I said, event monitoring has a four key components. One with event log file monitoring. So there are some certain event log files. Everyone know about audit trail, right? The setup audit trail, where it captures some sort of data. It doesn't capture all the interactions that what you did. So it captures if you change the field level security, or if you're trying to log in with other user, or if you are if you are trying to change the permission set licenses or assign permission set. So these are all the part of your audit setup audit trail, right? But it just stores the last 6 months data, right? But using event log file under event monitoring, there are some 50 events you can capture it. Those 50 events you could be able to visualize in our Tableau, very clean and neat dashboards available, which I can showcase. Along with this event log file monitoring, you have the real-time monitoring. As I said, if Prashant is logging from one device and is trying to log in from different device with an active session, I'm going to block Prashant. That's a real-time kind of monitoring. It means a user is doing something abnormally where I don't like his activity, where system can detect and then immediately inform a security manager via an email notification. Along with, it sent a push notification to Prashant saying that you're doing something wrong and your security manager will reach out to you. That is through real-time monitoring. And we have a transaction security, where the one which I've told, that's also part of your transaction security policies. There are some declarative policies and customization policies, where you can declaratively define a couple of policies. I can showcase what all the real-time event policies available, where you can configure as a click. And there are some advanced code level policies available, where you can write some code and then you can activate those policies as well. And the threat detection is one of the great artificial intelligence algorithm designed with a lot of security standard and principles. That gives a lot of maturity in terms of a product level. And because threat detection, what it does is it won't give you the real time, but it captures your all events across the platform, and it finds you a detective kind of a parameter. So that comes with a complete AI kind of a modeling. I'll showcase how it would be. All right. As I said, we have an event log file where all the events will be captured inside Salesforce event log file. So you can see that there are 50 critical events available inside your Salesforce event monitoring. Those are nothing but your lighting adoption, page views, API, dashboards, and lot of stuff. Actually, I can showcase that. So ideally, there are 50 events which you can monitor inside your event monitoring app. Because if you purchase this event monitoring app license, so it automatically comes with the predefined dashboards and predefined event log files. That gives a lot of immense value for every security teams, that no need to drag through all the stuff. We just need to just use those to get the more value addition. And as I said, apart from 50 real-time event, there are some 50 event log. There is only one difference team here. What will happen is this event log files the 50 monitoring critical events, that is about a 50 different kind of an objects in Salesforce. So what will happen is all this data ideally is going to be feed into the big objects. Because with this much of capacity, because you have millions of data, right? So this much of capacity, there is only one way which you can store this event log file data under big objects. That is only object where you can reduce the space of the normal data objects. That gives a lot of immense value for everyone for a data spacing perspective. Along with this, what it does is this event, real-time event, the 50 components, it will feed the data into Salesforce platform for every 24 to 48 hours. Let's take an example. I done a transaction. I view account page today. There is a account called ACME. I view the account page today, and the data that what I viewed will come next 24 to 48 hours. So there's a delay of 24 to 48 hours to feed the data into Salesforce event monitoring. So that's one of the a gap where it won't give you the real time all these event log files. But in order to eliminate this gap, Salesforce comes up with one more event option called real-time event monitoring. This is also part of the package of event monitoring. What it does is There are some 16 critical events in real time available. You see here the real time events. Let me put some eraser point. You see here this event manager. So you have API event, admin setup, credential stuffing, identity verification. So these are all some of the 60 events where it provides a real time, very real time. This real time has the streaming events available because it will have an ability of streaming the data on a real time and storing the data on a real time, because all this storing data also will be available under big objects. All this real time data also storing under big objects, and it's a real time. Using this real time event monitoring, what I can do is I'm going to build some transaction security policies. I have two options where I set one with conditional builder, the other one with an Apex. I can use a conditional builder where I can define a lot of rules. I'll showcase all the rules, how you can be able to make it your life easier as a security guy and the security officer, right? So this is comes under transaction security policies. I'll showcase how you can build it and how you can prevent the person not to logging into the system. The other one, as I said, right? So threat detection. So it's one of the AI artificial intelligence kind of a model which is designed with a lot of brains together. And this algorithm, which is designed in such a way that what it does is it'll just surface unknown threats, because this algorithm defines you've done plenty of things inside the org, and then when you do plenty of things inside the org, then it automatically create one credential stuffing event that comes with your event ID, your summary of what you have done. Entire summary will come into the picture. Based on your score, it will define this. The score start with 1 to 10. Based on the score, it will define what kind of threat you're creating to the Salesforce organization. So all this investigation which is going to happen inside these details, and under the related, you can get all the events that what you have done. You don't need to escape anywhere, so you can get all the events which is going to be captured under related, right? At the same time, this events will be informed immediately to your security manager, and security manager will schedule a call to you, and then they'll ask you what you have done so far on this. So there's a good AI driven programming which is driven inside the event monitoring. It's really good actually. So as I said, right? So I said 50 event log, types available, 50 event types available under event log object, and you can see what are all the 50 event types available. So if you've done capex callout, it'll capture as an event. If you've done execution, it'll capture execution. You've done REST API, SOAP API calls, it'll capture. You've done Apex trigger kind of an activity, it'll capture. You've done bulk API, it'll capture. You do logins, logouts, you do lightning errors, knowledge articles, you visit any page views, reports, dashboards, sites, URIs, analytics, everything it captures. All this details it captures. Because there's a single source of truth for every security management team to understand what the use has been done on a particular day, on a particular event, on a particular time. It'll capture everything. The only drawback of what I see here is it stores only the last 30 days of data. Let's take an example. I created an app today, which is nothing but 13th of December. In the next, when I reach 13th of January or 14th of January, the 13th December log will be deleted automatically. But don't worry, there is an Apex Exchange package available where the partner team has done some fabulous job, where they're storing that you can store more than 6 months of event log files as well. If you can purchase the Apex Exchange package, that would be really nice to have as well. But Salesforce is not providing that, because you see here millions of interactions is happening inside your Salesforce. I can't able to save all this with big objects, right? Because there are some certain rows available based on the license edition. I'll showcase how it look like the entire how many rows will be allocated for you on a package, how you can do it, everything. So ideally, these are all the event log files available inside your Salesforce event log object. As I said, right? So if you want to store data more than 30 days of time, maybe a company called Fair Warning. So this is a company, a premier partner with Salesforce, and they're one of the Exchange top partner as well, where they build an app where they're storing this data back to one of their internal data warehouse. So this app will automatically feed the data into their internal databases, or they can ingest one of your data warehouse as well. So this is an app. So this is one of the strategic ecosystem for partner insight. So there are some other, called Better Cloud, Splunk, IBM, Radar, Stack, New Relic. So there are some sumo logics. There are some other partners also implemented event monitoring to extend the event monitoring logs for more than 30 days. But Salesforce recommending as a previous, the preferred partner as a fair warning, right? So let's talk about, let me see if anyone has any questions before I jump into this use cases. Let me see if we retrieve Apex class or other metadata using VS Code, will this event be recorded? I'll showcase the ways of downloading this event monitoring log files, Raja. So that is really cool feature. There is a script which is available where you can download using npm installations as well as a Python script. I'm not sure about VS Code, but Python script and shell script is available. The bash one, I can showcase how it can be done. All right. So I think no questions for rest of them, but ideally it's okay that I can go through our next process, especially on the use cases. Let's talk about the use cases of event monitoring analytics app. So we discussed, right? So what are all the high level event monitoring use cases? So one with user and application visibility, data loss preventions, productivity and adoption, performance monitoring. So all these are the high level event monitoring use cases, but we can drill down a little bit down. That gives a lot of a lot of understanding for every audience here. Let's take an example of user account compromise. So if as I said, like Prashant is logging with different VPN locations and is logging with abnormally, one session active, one more session is trying to do it. You're logging from the unproctored devices called BlackBerry or anything, and he's doing browser changes, she's changing IPs through VPN, and he's doing massive data exfiltrations and all this stuff, right? So and again, he's trying to locate he's trying to sit with the India location, and then he's just compromising his logins with Singapore. So some of the companies won't allow employees to work from different locations except Singapore. So these kind of things that Prashant is doing it, but has a security manager or the security team. So what I would like to leverage inside event monitoring is you could leverage a couple of dashboards given. As I said, event monitoring by default comes with 16 dashboards, which is nothing but out of the 16, these are all the four which comes with this use case abnormal kind of logins. One with user logins. This dashboard gives you what Prashant has done for so and so date and which IP, which location, and everything. This loginers gives us what Prashant has done, because sometimes if I'm the person, because Prashant's know my users, so he has an admin access where he can log in as my user. He has done some unwanted stuff. Ideally, it also captures by the system. We know who's the person logging in on behalf of you, and then what kind of shit work which you have done, what kind of pages you have been viewed, what kind of clicks you have done, everything. And at the same time, the percentage of report downloads, because there are some sensitive data sitting in my org as your system admin or a partner guy. Because as an enterprise company, there are a lot of partners working with me. There are partners like Capgemini, Accenture, CTS, and other Deloitte, and all the partners work with me. So when you work with all the partners, ideally you should share your common environment, and you're really not sure what kind of data that they're exposing, right? So believe me, when you're trying to give an access to a certain team members who are partners with you, so ideally you should, of course, you do a lot of caveats in terms of giving profile access and all this stuff. But sometimes where we believe we not sure we are missing something, right? An extra permission is given automatically, or something which we see abnormally, and we forgot something that we given them extra additional access for him through a permission set, right? So the persons or the partners will trying to export the reports, trying to exporting the dashboards, or sending those reports to email from Salesforce. So all these things which you can capture as report downloads, and the REST API. So the amount of data that you're trying to hit the API is one of the key factor for our data driven approach perspective. Because when you're working with an API, there always to be a point to point or point to multi point integration kind of stuff. When you do point to point, you're going to expose your REST service and then handing your endpoint URL to the third party to consume web services. When you do such kind of things, it's always a best practice where you should adopt the API limits as well. You just need to verify what kind of APIs you're exposing. Within the API, are you sending a right authentication using the latest TLS protocols, right? So all those things will be captured under some of the dashboards which is given by Salesforce under event monitoring app. And this also setup audit trail is one app available, and the files is something that you're downloading a lot of files, you visit a lot of content, your content user IDs, everything will be captured. Let's talk about another example. So as a person, I have some details about your performance of the customers Salesforce features, because uh, not only our users' behavior, but we always focus on our adoption rates as well, right? Because a lot of code has been written by our developers, and a lot of report has been generating. If you written Lightning Web Component, and then it take a lot of time for an execution of it, which causes a page performances along with your reciprocal values of the entire elements that what you have designed inside your code, right? So there are some VF pages which you design, and there are some weak code pages, or there are some prioritize kind of elements where you want to focus on. So as a developer or as a release manager or a operations team, by using by eliminating all these issues, so you could leverage some of the dashboards inside your event monitoring, which is nothing but there is a dashboards called Apex execution, which gives a complete execution of your performance details of Apex, which includes CPU time, which include your DML interactions, which include DB time, everything. Along with it gives API dashboard, VF dashboard, MyTrust dashboard. So these are all the dashboards, Lightning performance dashboards, all these dashboards, which gives a lot of immense value for every operations manager, that gives a lot of clarity on your org related perspective, and then you could lock and discuss with your development team to optimize certain ways where wherever is possible. I would recommend and strongly recommend everyone to go and then talk with your dev team to rebuild something which is really useful, right? The next thing, adoption of Lightning UI. This is most important, right? So when we're moving Lightning from Classic, I'm not sure how many of them are still in Classic, but this is one of the good example where once you have an event monitoring, I would recommend to verify the adoption rate. If you don't have event monitoring, so as a person like me, if I don't have an event monitoring, what I do is I'll just verify my user logins, and I'll check, because inside your user login history, you can grab last 6 months users logins, and then there's an option where what kind of UI you've been logging into it. It'll tell you it's a Lightning or Classic with the version of 46 or 47, definitely. But if you want the most crypto details about your adoption rate, which contains traffic of Lightning experience, how many pages of Lightning has been visited, what are all the browsers that you visited using Lightning, what are all the different objects they visited in Lightning, different Lightning pages, right? What are all the different Lightning pages you visited the most? What are all the different pages you're staying on most? All this information, which can cover under these event monitoring dashboards. The Lightning adoption, which gives a complete adoption rate for Lightning for all the users across the system, the page views, Lightning page views, dashboards, the reports, and it gives you the web adoption, which is just an old one, but it gives a lot of interactions about your the reports, how many views, the exposure and everything, right? So these are all the things where the typical use cases where every person needs to be understandable, and then just leverage this tool, which comes very handy for every security and operations teams. And that's all the use cases we have. And as I said initially, right, so there's a question where what kind of real-time event coverage available for a real-time events for sending a real-time notification to the employee or a user logging into abnormal behaviors. So you can see here a couple of details where there's an Ogil event, logout event, identity verification history, login as event. So if you're logging as with other user, you can just block him immediately inside your platform. If the person is using a logout event, and then he's logging out from different web server, different way, then you can block him. Right? There are some different real-time coverage events available. I can showcase in demo. So these are all the real-time event coverages, which is very real-time, and all this will be available. These all data will be streaming into your your Salesforce database, and at the same time, it automatically store the data as well inside your big objects, right? So without any delay, I'm going to demo the platform. So before I jumping into a demo, I'll ask if anyone has any questions. Let me see if anyone has any questions. Can you please list down the major event types which can be utilized to monitor and capture user activities and CRM analytics in the form of reports? Can it capture real-time events monitoring in CRM analytics without any issues? It's a good question, Sunil. So let me run through the demo. I'll come to your question. So there's a question. I have a couple of scenarios as well. What is possible, what is not possible, especially because there are a few trailblazers which has reached out to me, and then they've asked me some good questions where I would like to share it with you as well. I think one of the questions that what you're asking is, Sunil, it's absolutely, I'm going to discuss about it. So what I'll do is I'll just share my screen and I'll showcase how the event monitoring looks like. But before on this, we'll talk about event monitoring licenses, right? If anyone want to, event monitoring Salesforce license, so you can see the event monitoring pricing and editions. So the event monitoring. So if you look at this event monitoring, it gives. It comes with two licenses. One with event monitoring. I'll just go with. Yeah, so event monitoring has different kind of licenses. Event monitoring license, and the event monitoring comes with event monitoring plus Analytics Studio license, which is nothing but WCRM license. Event monitoring with Analytics Studio plus something kind of license. So there are different licenses. So with this license, so you can have an opportunity where you can ask customer where how many number of interactions you would like to store. So some people will go for a 250k rows, because only 250k rows you can able to store your real-time event log file. So these are all event log file storage, event log file storage. So basic one is 250k rows for demoing and all, but customers I work with, big enterprise customers, they went on 10 million, and some customers they went on like 20 million or 30 million as well. Based on the enterprise, based on the company's events that what you're capturing, so you can just check it out your evaluation, and then you can decide which edition you would like to go ahead with. Either you would go to the event monitoring plus Analytics Studio with an event log file storage 250k rows, or 10 million, 20 million, or 30 million. So these are all the licenses available ideally. Once the customer procure event monitoring license with Analytics Studio, what will happen is you have an opportunity here. What the biggest question saying that where I can see my number of rows has been procured. So step number one, everyone has to check, verify whether the license has been procured or not. License is nothing but they'll give an additional permission set licenses, which is under feature licenses. You could see the feature licenses here, the permission set licenses. You have this event monitoring, you have analytics platform licenses given. Along with this, you have event monitoring analytics apps, right? So these are all the permissions. You just check if you have this permissions and this permission. It means like the event monitoring app has been installed in your org. So once you have this org, the step number two, what you have to do is you have to quickly go and then start with how many rows have been assigned to me. So if you see, mine is 250k rows, just a basic edition I have, and all these rows have been included with my 60 data sets, nothing but 60 monitoring events. I have 50 plus 10 custom sets available, but this is the process where everyone has to check the basic things. I have 250k days of edition. I just leverage 11,668 events, this basic one. So some of the enterprise customers go with 10 million, 20 million, 60 million as well. They can purchase all these rows as a separate add-on. So once you've done this, as a part, what you have to do is you have to enable your event monitoring settings. Just go to the event monitoring settings and then enable this view event log data in analytics apps. There are some requirements, team. The customer want to delete some event monitoring data as well. If you wish to do it, you can just enable this and then give the permissions across your profile wise, which you can delete the event monitoring data as well. So the other things, as I told, right? So event manager is a place where you can see all the real-time events. As I told, these real-time events where you could use in your transaction security policies and then build some security policies as well. See here, there are different events available. Each and every event, it supports streaming of data and it supports storing of data as well. Some of the events which won't support streaming. See here, bulk API result event. It won't support streaming, it won't support storing as well. So those things where you can go and then quickly enable storage and enable streaming as well. It is as simple as that. So when you get the new monitoring license available, these won't be, all will be disabled. You have to do step number one, enable event monitoring settings, and then comes to event manager, enable all this streaming data and storing data. Enable all events streaming and storing data. Once you enable it, then you have to go and then enable the transaction security policies. So it'll ask you to enable. Once you enable it, you will see different policies. I build it. I'll showcase in the later point of time how I build it. These are all the basic setup, you have to do it. Once you've done this step, immediately you have to come to your user, the person who's going to run the app. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, just a courier. All right. So when you come to once you've done the installation process, what you have to do is you have to come here to user level and then give the permission sets. Because I'm the person who setting up the event monitoring app. I'm the one who running the event monitoring app and doing some development on the Einstein analytics. So basic, I need event monitoring analytics admin, CRM analytics plus admin. So these two licenses are required for a person who wants to set up event monitoring app, along with you who wants to build a good dashboards, a custom dashboards for your basic requirements, right? That states that we completed a setup. Along with this, there is one more important factor. The third important factor would be at a profile level, or I would recommend to create a permission set as well. Not a big deal. So at a profile level, if you want to enable the real-time data, so there is a real-time events. There are some system permissions where you have to go and then enable it. Those are real-time event monitoring. So there's the event log files. So the person has to view the event log files, view login forensic events, which is really required for threat detection. And view event log files are required to view all the event log files. View real-time event monitoring data, which is nothing but your real-time event manager data, and view threat detection events as well. Currently, I'm not given it, but these are essential system permissions. You have to give an enablement for all this, all right? All these permissions are really required. So once you've done this, so immediately what you can do is you can go and then click on Analytics Studio. And there's one more. So if you haven't installed Analytics Studio as well, so as a person, what you have to do is you have to go and then enable the Analytics Studio as well. Once you enable event monitoring, and you have to enable the Analytics Studio as well. In Analytics, getting started. So here you can see enable CRM Analytics option here, right? You just enable the CRM Analytics option, and then there are some pre-defined steps available for everyone to go and then complete the process steps. Under settings, you can see some more steps, especially on enabling and what kind of permissions you want to give for analytics. So you could share the CRM Analytics with communities. Yes.
Funny, your screen is not loading. Funny.
So is it?
Yeah, it's froze. It just froze.
Can you see it?
Um, Not yet. Funny. Can you reshare?
Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, now I am. We are able to see the profile screen. Funny.
Okay, all right then. Okay, we are in the same place. Okay, so once we done this event monitoring setup, so I would recommend everyone to go and then enable analytics as well, because we are building event monitoring app. That is one thing. At the same time, we are building some more analytics on top of event monitoring, right? So this is required as well to run the app or create an app of event monitoring. So here there are some settings available based on your requirement. You could be able to enable certain things, and I would recommend these are all some of the best practices where you can go and then enable data sync and connection. That is nothing but your data manager. And if you want to connect S3, Snowflake, or connecting different connectors, you can enable those as well. And there are all some of the elements where I would recommend everyone to follow some certain rules and to enable some certain settings. That gives a lot of immense value for everyone to start developing on the Einstein platform, right? So once you've done the setup, what you have to do is you have to go your Analytics Studio and then click on Create and click on App. Once you click on App, so you have different apps available, but just ignore it. So you have only event monitoring. So you can go and then search with event monitoring app. So I already created one app. Ideally, it just showcase my app. Let me ask me, fine, you already created one app. Would you like to create a brand new app? Okay, let me create a brand new app, but I'll not at the final step. I'll just ignore it. What you have to do is as a best practice team every time, when you're working with Sandbox for implementation, always remember one thing. So these are all the different kind of events include Apex execution. So yes, and requesting, as I said initially, right? So it only captures 30 days of data. 30 days is the only retention period for every event. But as a best practice, when you do development, don't feed unnecessarily all the data into respective data objects or big objects. I would recommend to keep 2 days or 7 days of data, because I always recommend 7 days of data to be used for testing. When we go live, when you go live, what you can do is, because if you see all, if I want to see yes, you have to keep all these to yes and keep the 7 days for all the events, because this capture all the 50 events. Okay, click on yes, 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 and then click on looks good next. So it'll ask for different events. If I go next, different events, looks good next, different events, looks good next. So it'll ask for different events. So it asks all the events across my 50 events. So once I done everything, so it'll ask me all the events. When I click on looks good next, then automatically creates an app. It runs a data flow in the backend. Once it runs the data flow, this is the data flow which runs in backend. But as I said, right, when you do testing, keep 7 days. When you come to the production, so keep the 30 days and then deploy it, so that the data will be feeding into last 30 days of data will be feeding into your org. That's the safest side always, right? And once I click on done, in the back end, I have my data manager. In data manager, I can see my different kind of jobs available, different kind of connections, recipes, assets, and everything. Under data flows, we click on manage data flows. From here, you can see my data flow, the flow what I've deployed, my user adoption event monitoring data flow. The most important thing, team, this is my personal experience, because working on the last 3-4 years on this. So when the first time you set up the event monitoring, right, when you set up this event data flow, some of the local data is really required. What it means is, when you see the connect, it automatically has some sort of a data, easy login event, and all these data are available. So I would always recommend to run this first. Just schedule it, fully schedule it, fully refresh all the local objects. Step number one. Step number two, come to the data flow and recipes, and data flow. I would recommend this event monitoring ELT data flow run once. First time, run everything once. Once the job runs successfully for all the events, you can see all the events which is monitored here, because I just ran last 2 hours back. You see, I ran all the local events. After that, it automatically, my data flow will pick the latest event monitoring data flow, and it run automatically, and it captures all the 50 event types. You see, extract this event type sort capture, and it automatically feeds the data into different data sets, all the 50 data sets what I have, right? So in data flow, you have a concept of scheduling. Okay, so make sure this has to be done for sure. This is as much as best practice. When you click on schedule, always choose event based, and then choose Salesforce local connection syncs. So make sure when you go on live, first time run full refresh for both the data flows and local events manually. Second time, once the first time is done completely successfully, second time, come to this place first, choose event based, choose Salesforce local connection syncs, because some of the data sets of event monitoring requires local data, especially on the login, especially on different case objects, audit trial objects, and all, right? That's the reason I'm asking. That is a source input for feeding the data into this event monitoring data sets as well. So you have to set up the Salesforce local connection syncs and click on save. Then you have to go to lower Salesforce local connections, and then you can schedule it for every 24 hours, or what I can say. Run it at local evening times where nobody is working, So choose one major time, and then set the timings with the different time zones, because mine is Asia Singapore. So you can define your time zones as well, and then define every day. If you want to run, you just choose for every day, and then choose a specific time on every week or every day, every week, every month, every hour, every minute. So run every 24 hours. So you can do such kind of a thing. You have to schedule it. Once you schedule, first it runs. Once it runs, then automatically it picks. The data flow will automatically picks it. You don't need to do anything. Once you've done it, what it done is it automatically feed all the data into your data sets. All the data sets of event monitoring you see here, all the data sets will be feeding into the number of rows. Once you, then the data will be feeding into your all the data sets. Now all the data will be feeding into the right dashboards. As I said, in event monitoring, you see, if I log into my app, user adoption event monitoring dashboards, Once my app creates, so it'll take time team. Once on the first time, it'll take 28 to 24 to 48 hours to load the data into the system. Don't worry about it. It'll take some time. It'll load the data for sure. If you feel after 48 hours it's not happening, the data is not ingesting into different dashboards, because you see every dashboard, you see some zero records or one record or something. If you see these kind of things, make sure you just delete the app and rerun once again. Definitely it's going to be done for sure 100%. As I tell you, you see different kind of dashboards, 16 dashboards predefined by Salesforce. You see all the dashboards which is given by Salesforce, which contains your, the page views, which contains your, these are all the, beautiful wonder dashboards where the person can go and then, put some sort of, as a security manager, if I have something happening with the one of the user, let's take an example, report downloads. So as a person, Phaneendra, so yes, I don't have any data for this. So let me bring some maybe page views. So you see here, Phaneendra, I've just gone to different objects. This is my IP logging from Singapore, and this is different kind of a pages. You could just still customize these URIs with object IDs as well. That's something possible using custom dashboards, and you can see different kind of raw log data which is available. The user with the profile and the role and my URI. So if you wish to, add some more number of rows, ideally, you can just click on explore, and then you can add more number of rows from this data set. You can add a lot of rows that you want to view the data, and you could define some filters also to define some certain users data. You could do plenty of custom dashboards as well, based on based on our requirements. And also we build a customer centric user search, because one of customer requested me, funny, I want everything into one single dashboard. You show me 16 dashboard, I don't want. I just want this dashboard will focus on complete user perspective. It comes the user adoption, the person logging into Lightning or Classic. This is the login history of the person, your user trail, Lightning platform access, user access tracking, your visual force, your tracking reports, Lightning interactions, Apex executions, downloads, everything, high number of content downloads and everything. So high number of report downloads. You've done 3 report downloads on 12th, 9th of December. So one single dashboard which you can leverage the data sets of Salesforce event monitoring, and then this you could leverage it. You can just build this dashboard as a custom dashboard using event monitoring data sets. Here, my security manager requested me this kind of a view, but if as a security subordinate, I want to inform why this person has been done three times download. I just want to notify my subordinate. So what I'll do is I'll just notify my subordinate saying that, hey, well, there is some hit with money, check once on this logs. What it does is it'll automatically share a charter notification with the customer, my security manager Wallace. So he automatically get this message, and what it does is it'll automatically capture the entire screenshot as the proof here. At the same time, if you want to see some more annotation, let's take an example of take an example of my security manager is somewhere, and because my subordinates are on leave, but I want to make some automatic notifications to my security manager. So here what I'll do is I'm going to set my notifications. I'm just going to set some notifications to the person. So this notification, yes. So I'm going to set a notification to my security manager when the count of downloads is more than 5. You're going to put some benchmark, right? Because if a person is downloading more than 5 reports on a day, so I'm going to put some sort of set a notification to your security manager. So you can set notification saying that count of rows or percent of report downloads, which is more than or which is greater than some 200%. So what you can do is you could just put a frequency of a scheduling option, and you can notify first to the current user who set up the dashboard. At the same time, you could notify your security manager as well, saying that you could choose from your security manager from the drop-down list, and then you can just add to the person, and then you can just set up this. Once you've done it, then you click on save. So whenever the report download is happening after anything more than 200, immediately a notification will goes to me along with my security manager as well. So these kind of annotations or these kind of notifications also you can set up in event monitoring. At the same time, I told annotations also. You could design some annotations also to bring in-depth analytics, because you're reviewing the complete analytics, but ideally, but my manager want to know, so you could average all these options as well, could annotate them very quickly as well. So these kind of options available for you to do some sort of analysis for abnormal behavior of user interactions. So these kind of analytics are available inside your Salesforce event monitoring. All this will be predefined one, and you can build a lot of custom dashboards also. I built one more custom dashboard, which is gonna showcase that. Where is this? I built one real-time login metrics. This real-time login metrics I done real-time. When you do something now, it automatically capture here. Okay. This real-time login metrics, I leverage the real-time login events. What I've done is, in order to build this real-time login events in the data manager, especially step number one, you have to go and then connect your local data. Nothing but you see login event I've connected. There are some of real-time data sets available inside your, as I told, right? There are some data login, there are some real-time login events available. You can see here login event. Login event is a real time, one of the real time, and there are some other login as event, and there are some other real time available. You can just choose the login as event, choose a number of fields, and then you can just create the data set. Once you create the data set, you can go and then build a dashboard similarly like this. See number of my who logs the most, source of IPs from different location, abnormal number of account lockouts, because sometimes my account will be locked out, right, due to some abnormal number of things I've done. 36 times I've trying to logging into the system, and system policy is only set up until 5 maximum attempts, so it automatically gives a lockout. It gives a success or failures of my login attempts with different locations is here, and my first time login, which user agents are logging from different source IP, my rare user agent logins, my first time account lockout events, my land speed anomaly. So this is something good, because this is something good means, so I'll tell you an example of this. So if a person is sitting in Singapore, and then his IP is sitting in his IP is sitting in some sort of 136 or something, and the same person went on Philippines, and then you can logging into the different IP, and I can see the latitude longitude of the respective persons, and then I can check it out. What is a possible account sharing detection? Nothing but is he really sitting in Philippines? So all those kind of a thing which you could capture under here. The number of failed attempts you trying to logging into Salesforce, and trying to all the failed attempts you can capture it, and this is the complete raw log file as well. And you could see different locations also, how many number of events in India, Philippines, and Singapore, United States. So this is a pure real-time dashboard. When you do something now, it automatically captures here. So those kind of dashboards also you could build using real-time login metrics, using real-time login data. So at the same time, you can build a lot of recipes as well, because it's one of the recipe I have just combined uh, login event versus the normal users, because users are the standard Salesforce dataset which use login event. I just joined and I just transforms the logic with different kind of an options, and I transforms the data into my one of the dataset that I use that dataset for building the real-time login metrics. There's a pure play configurable kind of a way which you can build a lot of things. The data flow is also very easy. It's all plug and play. It's all configurable way, configurable mode of operations, right? So this is what our real-time event monitoring for a event log object perspective. But when it comes to your transaction security policies, so transaction security policies are alert kind of a mechanism. Alerts are nothing but like you're doing all abnormal kind of a things. I'll showcase one simple example with the limited time what I have. I'll showcase how we can do it. So here I can go to the setup and just search for transaction security policies. So this transaction security policies will gives a lot of value addition personally for me actually. You see here, I build some of the Apex events. I build some of the conditional builder events as well. Let's take an example. This one of the event I created from alert. So I use my login event, but it's better that I can create one fresh. I have two, one with condition builder, one with Apex code. I'll use condition builder. So this, I'm going to choose my real-time events available. What are all the real-time events where you can use it? Login event, API event anomalies, list view, report event, or bulk API result event. So I'm going to choose any login event. So from here, I'm going to put some conditions where your country equals North Korea. And if you're trying to log in from North Korea, I'm going to apply an action to block the person, send an email notification and in-app notification to your security manager, and put some sort of name of trying to log in from different country, which is opposable, kind of a thing. Put some description and then enable this. So if a person is trying to log in from North Korea, it blocks the user. So these small enablement will gives a lot of impression for everyone to save secure of your PI data. At the same time, if you look at this one, right, I'll showcase one which is the Apex. So I built an Apex. I built some of the Apex classes. I'm going to choose my login event. So there are some Apex classes I written especially on the login event with the event monitoring interface. So I'm going to use my concurrent session policy condition and I click on next. So the same thing, you can block the person, you define all the notifications, you define custom message as well, and then you can activate it. Let's take an example. One of the so there is one called multiple, as I said, right? The Prashant is logging concurrent user login session alert, right? So here, if the person is, I'm going to enable this. So this I've written in such a way, I've written one of the Apex condition. So this condition will talk about, yeah. So I written a handler class as well, but I'll just enable this and I'll showcase. So this is one of the Apex event where I already logging into Salesforce. I have an active session. If I'm trying to log in Salesforce with another active session, then the system, the policy is saying that just block this person. If I click on edit, if I go to the one second, if I click on edit, I'll see my actions. So what I'm saying here is I've just put some action to block the person, and so this is not the one. Let me pull the one which I've designed. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, you see here this condition where I requesting a person logging from different session. If one of the active session is already there, I put a message blocking the user logging from different location if he is an active session. So here I just disable this one. I'm going to make an enablement of this. I click on save. All right. Now I click on save on one of this transaction policy. Now I'll try to log in with the same credentials. All right. See, a security policy is preventing you from logging into this org. For more information about security, contact administration. So these kind of messages will, prevent the users not logging into the same system. You can build a transaction policy with conditioner, or you can build your Apex policies as well. I can showcase simple Apex class, multiple login event condition. So it's just not a just a the pure plug basic Apex using even transaction security event condition interface. So I'm gonna checking the maximum user session is equal to 1 and trying with login event, and I'm just querying all entities of my login event, and I'm just applying a condition where pulling the data from transaction security policy by split and return a query to bring out number of active sessions. And if the active session available, then I'm ignoring, I'm just putting the result into one of the list and then calling if it is true, then block the person with the condition. So this is just a simple Apex class. So all these examples available inside your documentation. You can use this documentation with different kind of logics. You can implement different kind of logics inside your transaction security policies, and then you can build like this. There are so many so many policies available with the configurable conditional builder way as well as Apex as well. You'll see here block customer report when without consent, block query account object, block the filter list view. So different kind of things you could just trying to do it. So these are all the some of the transaction security policies with the real time, because these are all the real time events where you can block the user trying to do something abnormal inside your Salesforce orgs. So that's all from the session team. So I'll go through a couple of conditions with the limited time what I have. So what I'll do is I'll just check any queries and anything. I'll share my personal examples with because some of the trailblazers reach out to me asking some questions. So there's a person comes to me recently from Pakistan, and he asked me a question. Funny, is it possible to, because I went to one of the sales cloud. So let's take an example of this. So he asked me a question. Funny, is that possible? Where I went to one of the contact called the person. If I visited this contact, can I immediately block the person not to visit the contact? Unfortunately, this event, the views, right? Because this is one of the lightning page view, right? This is one of the view that is captured by Salesforce, but this is captured inside your event log. Your the event log here. This will capture one of your event log under. If I look at my event monitoring, right? So page centric. If I go my dashboard, this page views. So I know what kind of record I visited. You see here, I visited one of the. If we copy this entire record, so it automatically I will get to know which page I visited for sure with the respective object ID. So here is this will be captured under real time. This will be captured under event monitoring, but unfortunately, this won't be captured under your transaction security policies, which comes with real time login. That's one of the drawbacks for some certain use cases where you can't be able to achieve it. I'll just, where is this? So some of them where we can't be able to achieve it using because your data, your event manager, supports some of the events, not for views and everything, right? So it supports list view event and everything, but it doesn't support your some of the page views and everything. So that's one of the drawback. And when it comes to other stuff, especially so this is one of the use cases, and some of the use cases which is asked by different trailblazers or similar kind of a situation. Some of the questions comes from funny, we set it up the event monitoring, but the data is not feeding into dashboards as I told. So if it is not coming, wait for 48 hours, and if it is not working, then try to delete the app and then try to reconfigure app once again. So that's one of the thing. And if you want to see or delete the some of the event log files, I would recommend to enable the permission, and it automatically gives the ability to delete the event log files, event log records as well. So that's all for today's session, Dean. So I'll run through a couple of resources and then I'll come back for the questions. All right. So let's go through our. Yeah, this is one of the thing where so there's a person asked me a question. Funny, is there any way that I can use to download the event log file? Because some users have event monitoring app availability, but some users don't have event monitoring where they don't have money to go and then do it, right? So there is a event log file browser available. This is built on Heroku. So there's an Heroku app where a person can. I don't know, something is not working, but I'll check. Yeah, there's an Heroku app available where a person can go and then see the browser where you can choose number of events and then you can be able to download. But this download data won't give you the entire 30, 60 days. It gives a 1 day data. So that's the drawback. And you could query the event log files in developer console as well. It just writes some query on the event log object, which include put the tooling API as an option, and then you can get the list of the log files available in developer console. And as I said, you asked me VS Code, right? So there's a curl activity available. So through curl using a shell script, you can just set up this shell script with event log files, and you can download batch script to download event log file. So you just set it up this, and you can download all the event log files as well. At the same time, you could use a Python script to call your one of the package, and you can use a Python script to. There is a GitHub repository available. You can just use that, and then just install the latest Python versions of more than 2.8, and then just install your packages and then try to authenticate with Salesforce and then try to download the files as well. So there's one more option where you can visualize event log files using EMAP. I've showcased already. So the biggest question, right? So question is funny. You told me 30 days is the only retention period, but after 30 days, what else if I want the data to be visualized? The best option, what I did, I've integrated the entire event monitoring big objects data with the Splunk. Splunk is one of my favorite apps where I use a lot of, when I'm working with different companies, I use Splunk heavily because this Splunk will gives a lot of attention for bringing all the data into Salesforce, into Slack. It gives a lot of maturity for building a lot of visualization as well. You see here, you can just download the Splunk app, and it'll ask you to connect your Splunk data. It'll ask you can grab logs, objects data as well, and then you can build some dashboards also more than 30 days. If you want to see data more than 30 days, you can just bring all the data into this Splunk, and then you can just build a lot of analytics as well, right? This is one of the option. You see the one which I've showcased, right? Logins by geography. So you can also capture and build using Splunk, the Splunk dashboards. So this is one of the greatest option I've done, and it's really good. And there is an app exchange partner app called Fair Warning, as I told. So this app will give you data, and this app exchange partner gives, you can store this data more than 30 days as well. You see here this app called Fair Warning, and it gives the same all the controls, and they'll build some more dashboards on top of what Salesforce is providing us. So you can just explore this as well with different options. If you want to store more than 30 days, so probably I would request people can try this as well. There's one more, and there is another one which is New Relic Insights. New Relic Insights is one of the tool where customers can go and then try it out as well. So these are all the ways of downloading event log files, and you could get a lot of traction towards leveraging this tool, and then you could definitely understand more on this, right? So you can learn event monitoring with Trailhead. Just go to the event monitoring, enhance the transaction security policies, event monitoring analytics app. So as I said, best practices. Before you start doing it, determine the best use cases which contains, talk with your security team, find out what else you want to build, like abnormal kind of logins, account sharing, VPN, account sharing access, real-time login metrics, user-centric search, and all this thing. And then, as I told, even monitoring analytics data flow, schedule and wait for 24 hours for data flow to run. Don't panic. Wait 24 to 48 hours, and then see your luck. All right. And I told, if you're, there is one more team, I forgot to tell you that. If your data, you're a person, Salesforce documentation told you to configure the data set every 30 days, right? But I recommended 7 days. When somebody go and then configure with 30 days, let's assume you are an enterprise company with more than 40,000 users are there. If all the users are logging into one time, all the interactions will be captured, right? All the, consider 40,000 users are logging into the platform, and you purchase addition of 250K rows, but your event monitoring rows are more than 6 million rows. In this case also, the app will not ingest the data into dashboards. You have to increase your capacity of data rows limit to 10 million or 1 or 30 million, and then you can run the app and configure the app. Then it will run properly and feed the data into dashboards. Okay. And this is also saying the same thing. So lower the number of days for retention, like 7 days. Once you're done testing everything, then move it to 30 days. All right. So there are some of the best practices and some additional resources, especially on best practices blog, developer guides. You can develop with event monitoring the way that I've told. You could use plenty of stuff, Apex classes you can write for transaction security policies. And there is some videos also given for Dreamforce 2016, which you can go and then try it out. And this is just a whiteboard. SF users do a lot of thing inside org, feed the data after 24 hours, event log file data, and once it is done, you can build some analytics, and then you can build all the analytics with 30 rows of 30 days of data, and then you can build some dashboards also. This is a process of complete event monitoring analytics, and these are all the event monitoring versus out of the box. So people ask me a question, right? So if event monitoring provides all this, if out of the box like health check, audit field, login history, setup audit trail, there are plenty of things are available, right? So why can't we have leveraged those? Why event monitoring? So this is the best slide we can talk about. And you see, out of the box, we can't able to get a lot of amount of details if you want to do some sort of research. But using event monitor, you can do plenty of things. The one which have covered everything on the demo, right? That's all, team. Thank you for joining with us. And then let me see if any questions. I'll happy to answer those questions.